Well, this is our class is really being applied today since we only have half the amount of time to cover the things that we talked about. So we're going to get right into it today, and we're going to be talking about managing your schedule. Now, people pay a lot of money to go to classes and get their schedules managed. But really, we're going to approach this today from a different standpoint, that being disciples, and how we manage our schedules as disciples. We want today to come away with learning how to lead productive lives and effective lives in every area, okay? Also, to have the faith that I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. And number 3, not to burn out with the schedules that we have. And just a little background here about myself. I'm a full-time physician and surgeon. I work about 50 to 60 hours a week. I take a week of call every month. Which further adds to what I do. Also, a director of a special voice clinic, as well as a director of quality management in the department. Husband and father of 2 children under the age of 2. Shepherding couple for the Pasadena sector. Discipled 3 of the zone leaders in our sector, and have been personally fruitful this year, and have led the music ministry for the Pasadena sector. Still trying to find. Been able to work out consistently. I play a lot of tennis, getting my golf game up. I've been able to read 6 books this year, including John Grisham's latest book, as well as William Manchester's biography of Winston Churchill, which I've been working on forever. And in the other time, I like to kind of hang back and take a nap from time to time. And I say all that not to boast, because there was a time when really in my relationship as a disciple, I was overwhelmed with even leading a Bible talk, as well as just doing the minimum in the kingdom. So I want to come today with that in mind and let you know that I definitely have been in the situation where I've been out of control as far as what my schedule is. And I think it's important for us to look at really what motivates us. What motivates me are basically 3 things. Number 1, gratitude for God. Matthew 10:8 says, freely you have received, freely give. And I look back over my life, and even in medical school, I remember having an opportunity to go to Nigeria. And I was there for a month, and I got to see, just poverty. I saw really some hard situations. And I came away from that saying, why me? Why did I get to grow up in America? Why did I get to go to medical school? Why did I have the parents and the family that I did? Going and becoming a disciple, the same thing. Why me? Of all the people on this earth, why was I met? Why was I getting a chance to be studied with and to be able to make the decisions that I did? Why me that I should have such an incredible wife and 2 beautiful kids, to be able to live in Southern California? And I came away with the fact that I want other people to have what I have. So that is one of the biggest motivators for me, is just my gratitude for God. And number 2, results of hard work. In medical school, I realized that getting into medical school was going to be hard. Getting through medical school was even harder. I remember the nights that I stayed up and the things that I had to do in order to get where I was. And I realized there's no substitute for hard work. Everything that I've had to do has come with a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hard work. It never changes. And, Galatians 6:9, it says, do not grow weary in doing good, because at the proper time, you'll reap a harvest if you don't give up. I've learned to love hard work. I've learned to love, to see the changes that occur in my life and the lives of people around me, as time goes on. So results of hard work motivate me. And finally, what motivates me is my wife and my family. Men, I hope you can relate to this. I realized very quickly that if I was not the spiritual leader of my family, my wife would be. That's just the way it is, If we're not going to be the ones to get in there and really make things happen, there's a vacuum there, and it's going to be filled. That is what motivates me a lot of times. I want to do what's best for my family. I want to take the responsibility that God has given me, and I want to really be able to make my family excellent as well as the people around me, because ultimately my goal is to get my family to heaven. So those things are motivating to me, and I just wanted to start by sharing that, give Dana a chance to share.
Well, I appreciate just the opportunity to teach this class. I'm really grateful that so many people are here, particularly to hear Dave. Because honestly, he can squeeze more out of a day than anyone I know. And keep whistling and be happy about it. And I think, we're all busy even before we become disciples. And then we're disciples and oh my gosh, we have so many more things to do. And so it's really important to learn how to manage your schedule. Myself personally, we've been married almost 5 years, and during that time I've kind of run the gamut of different personal situations. When we were first married, I had a career change. I ended up going back to graduate school at UCLA. We were living in La Cañada, so I commuted, and we were leading a ministry at that point. And at the end of graduate school, I ended up getting pregnant, so I was pregnant. And working during that time. In fact, during that time, then we moved to Fullerton and led another ministry there with the Williams, which was really a great experience, and had the baby. And then 5 months later, I got pregnant again with a new baby, and then worked full-time commuting from from Fullerton to UCLA with a newborn, with being pregnant, and leading a ministry. And that was definitely a busy time. Then I ended up deciding to have my own healthcare consulting firm working out of the house. And now for about the past 6 months have kind of put that on hold, and I'm home with the children, helping to do the shepherding ministry. So, we definitely have learned, and I've learned a lot through Dave. One of the things about really learning how to manage your schedule, it's infectious with people that are in your lives. We're married here, and so a lot of people that we're reaching out to are married. And I don't know if you've found this, when you start sharing your faith, and especially couples with young children, and you start inviting them to church, and they're like, I don't know, my son, he naps during that time. But you see, when you can effectively manage your schedule and you have the fruits of the Spirit, see, people are attracted to that. And a case in point is a few months ago, I was sharing at the park with Leslie Samario, and we ended up running into a good friend right now. She's in the audience, Debbie and her husband. And, well, actually, Debbie at that time. And the first time I asked her to church, she was like, 10 o'clock, I'm sorry, that's when he naps. Well, the more that Leslie and I and Sherry, we started sharing our lives, and she saw that actually we had, 2 young children, and we could do this. I think she said, gosh, they're doing this. All right, we'll go to church. And not only will then I go to church, but then I'll study the Bible. And now, obviously, they're disciples, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud of Debbie and Dave, really, because not only now is they're disciples, but now she's been personally fruitful. This is just a few months, and she's taken on a job. So she's working too, and they have people over their home. And so I think, there's a lot of fruit involved in just learning how to manage your schedule. And for me, 3 things that truly motivate me to stay busy, to keep busy, and to be happy about it is that the first is I really love God. I really want to serve Him. I really want to please Him. And I don't want to miss out on anything that God has for me to do. The other thing is I really love other people. I love being involved in people's lives. I love seeing people change. I love the way they can change my life and really add to my life. And the other thing is I just love seeing God work. I get in these situations and I'm like, how is this gonna work? Like Peter, he's out there and he's walking in the water. Oh my gosh. And to just see how things come through, it's only from God. So, but that really comes from, one for me, being a great disciple of Dave.
Basically, we're going to have 3 points. And one thing that you have to emphasize, if you want to manage your schedule, you have to have a schedule. Now, this is, pretty basic here we're talking about. But people come sometimes and they're feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling burdened, they're thinking, oh my gosh, my life is out of control as a disciple. How am I going to get this, in control? I'll ask them, do you have a schedule? And suddenly this glazed blank look comes over their face, and it's like, gee, I think I know what the problem is here. Got to have a schedule. And it sounds funny, but I do my best when I have a schedule, when I know what's going on. I think it's the same thing with our finances. Sometimes when our finances are out of control, we get out of control. And one thing I learned from Bruce Williams back several years ago at a seminar was really to sit down and to have a schedule. And I get no money for Daytimer, but I'll tell you, I believe in this book. This book goes with me everywhere I go. And basically what I've done, there's different kinds, but the one that I have is the 2-page a day. And what I'll do is I'll sit down with this a month in advance. I know what my schedule is for work. I take my calendar from church, from the ministry that we're in, the different activities that are going on. And we write those things. I write those things in my book. When I go to work, that goes on my desk. That's just part of my day. Things to be done that day. I've got too many things going on to keep trying to remember it up here. Write it down. You write down what you have for that day. If you get it done, great. You should feel good about yourself. But there are days when you just can't. And what you do is at the end of that day, you write down the things that you didn't get done on the next day. Or maybe if you can't do it on that day, a week. Prioritize. Get those things down. Put a little number next to it on the day that you didn't get it done. If you get it done, put a check. If you didn't get it done, put the number of the day that it will get done and circle it. That way you know when it is going to get done. And your whole day is completely complete at that point because you know when you're going to get those things done. It frees you up to be able to think about other things besides yourself. When am I going to get together with so-and-so who's got a problem? When are we going to have our neighbors over for dinner? When are we going to get all these different things done? You got it here, and you're able to use it. Number 2, stick to them once you write them down. That's important. Stick to them. If you've got something else to do, put that down too. But don't just train yourself to be complete. And finally, be flexible. There's times when you're just not going to be able to get all those things done. And that's the hardest thing, I think, for men, to be flexible. You're doing one thing and all of a sudden, the rug gets swept out from underneath you and you get attitude about it. Well, don't get an attitude. Just change your schedule in such a way that you can get that done.
I personally feel like I get the most improved award in terms of scheduling because my motto before was give me liberty or give me death. A schedule to me was just cramp my style. I'm creative. I don't want boundaries. I really thought that, I saw these people in the kingdom while walking around with Daytimers. I thought they are clones of one another. And now for me to have a Daytimer, I definitely have made a lot of progress in this area. But I think for me, why I didn't have a schedule, and it wasn't that I didn't get things done. I did, but you know what my style was? Frantic. That was my style. Frantic, because I was trying to keep all these things going on and everything. And the other thing, too, before as a Christian, I was very selfishly ambitious. So, when you're not a Christian and you get a lot of things done, and then at the end of the day, you just don't answer the phone. You just have your time for yourself. As a Christian, you don't have much downtime. So, a schedule really helps. But I think for me, it's really called for me to be submissive. Submissive to my husband and family who need me, not to be frantic. Submissive to my friends who need me to have time for them. I've learned a couple things. One, the Bible calls us to be busy. It does, particularly as women. A lot of scriptures that talk about that we need to be busy. In fact, the Bible says if we're not busy, we become busybodies, which is true. You need to ask yourself, which are you? And also, Proverbs 14:1 says, a wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands, a foolish one tears hers down. I think part of building your house is building your schedule. At the end of the day, do you feel like so bad about yourself? Like, I kept forgetting this, or I forgot, I double booked myself, and which I've done. And, have you written it down? And you really need to ask yourself at the end of the day, do I feel really great about the things that I've done? Or do I feel worse about all the things I haven't done? And then, if you don't have a schedule, what I recommend is getting a Daytimer hourly and then writing down what you do. and you're seeing that you've got a lot of time it's just kind of lag time. Or, you're running errands 3 times a day. Maybe you could put all your errands together. Did you ever think about that? So there's just a lot of things that you can do when you see it in front of you. The other thing, as women, we really need to schedule our time with God. And I want to make that point because as a new mother, after Elizabeth, my firstborn, I didn't. And it was not a good time for me spiritually. We were leading a ministry, and it really broke my heart because some of the women that I discipled, and I was trying so hard, I was just running on my own steam. And they really felt like I wasn't there for them. And I wasn't. I just didn't. And I kept getting at it like, don't you see, I'm a new mother, I've got a family, I'm working, I'm commuting. But the bottom line is that I wasn't close to God. And it's not a matter of scheduling a quiet time. I want you to change your attitudes. What I decided to do this year after my new baby is I decided to not look at it as a quiet time. I decided to look at it as remaining in the vine. And really interesting because I hadn't been personally fruitful for a few years. And instead of worrying about being personally fruitful, I decided I'm going to remain in the vine. The Bible says if you remain in the vine, you will be fruitful. Okay, let's see, God, if that works. And it has worked. So many different people that I knew have been restored. I met Debbie and Dave. They've been fruitful, and it really has become because I've really remained in the vine. That is part of my schedule. And the other thing is we really do need to follow through with our schedules. I think with women, I hate to categorize this like this, but there's too much loosey-goosey. The Bible says, let your yes be yes. And there is too much canceling. There is too much making promises that aren't kept. It's really interesting. There are friends that I can really count on. They say they're going to be at my house. They are there or they are early. There's other friends that I have that cancel, that don't come, that stroll in. And when there's things that really need to be done and I need help, I don't ask the people that I really can't rely on. I ask the people that I can rely on. And the Bible says, let your yes be yes. Let your yes be yes. Anything that that doesn't come from that is from the evil one. And that is from Satan when you break your promise. And I really want to call us higher in that as women. I think you're not feeling guilty all the time, So we really need to follow, when we cancel, it needs to be the exception and not the rule. And the other thing is, go all the way. Make a goal and go all the way. Something I'm personally proud of is I really made a goal of losing my baby weight. And, I said, I'm going to be this weight. And Lisa Wood has really helped me. And it was so exciting because, I was like just 2 pounds from it, And it's like, 2 pounds, that's okay. And Lisa's like, no, you need to go all the way. And I'm like, I'm 2 pounds from it, Well, this week we weighed in and I actually got a half a pound below my weight. But, I know that might sound like a, trivial thing, but, it really means a lot when you make a goal and you stick to it, you go all the way. I feel it's definitely from God. It is not from me. But I really, feel great about that. And I think more people here need to feel good about that.
Man. Okay. The other thing is married couples, we need to work together on our schedule. And what we do is we take Sunday night or Monday night to get together. It doesn't have to take a long time. It can take even a few minutes because you both have your schedules. And you just sit down and you coordinate them so that together you can come up with what you're going to do for that week. What night are you going to have the Smiths over for dinner? When are you going to get together with the people you disciple? Okay, a lot of times you've got too many activities and not enough time. Okay, sit down. Well, how can we do some things together? Okay, I need to get with a weak brother, but why don't I bring the guy who disciples him with me? I need to have a time with God in the morning. Let's bring him over and let's have that time together. You'll be able to do a lot of different things at the same time, and you'll find there'll be a lot less categorizing of your life. Here's work, here's family, here's home, here's ministry. No, our whole life is integrated that way. And one reason why we tend to start categorizing our lives in different areas is because we're not close to God. It all gets back to our spiritual relationship with God, because if we're close to God, we're walking in the Spirit is able to help us to see how we can get a lot of different things done at the same time and to be able to see the results of that. And we are a lot less haggard. We're not burdened as much by our schedules. Just some practicals. I take the people I disciple swimming with me because I like to swim. You know, we work out together. Craig and I go hit golf balls together because it's something that I want to do. But yet it's something that he needs to do too because we both want to be good at golf. And it gives us a great time just to be able to hang out and to do some fun things together. You know, we don't put our life on hold because we're disciples. We incorporate it all into our life so that not only are we helping other people, but we're enjoying the life that God has given us at the same time. So, working together with your wife, with your family. You know, your family is such a showcase. You know, and that does need to have, you do need to have some special time with your family. Time when you just close the doors, you turn off the phones, you do something with the little kids. You take them to the park at that age. You read to them, you sing to them. You give them horseback rides on your back, right, you know, at the young ages. You know, you do things, you know, to also incorporate your family into your schedule. And, you know, you show off your family. You work with the other people in your ministry. You come up with plans together. We had a party at our house, a Halloween party. We had 70 people show up. We had about 30 visitors, didn't we? 30 visitors come with their little kids. It was not that big of a deal because we had a lot of people helping us. Those people were impacted. We got people set up to play golf. We got people to come to church. Just a lot of things because we work together. And that makes such a difference there. And it's helped a lot of people come into the kingdom in this group. So, working together in your families.
You know, that is true. I think working with Dave, you know, working with my husband, in this case, has really, really helped. Two are better than one, particularly for me. Even the prospect of going back to graduate school, I finished my undergraduate work 11 years before, and so it was like, oh gosh, doing the application and all of that stuff. And Dave said, okay, when is it going to be done? I'm like, well, when it gets done. He says, okay, it's going to be done on Wednesday. I'll never forget this. My applications for graduate school. And so Tuesday he asked me, and he says, is it done? I'm like, no, actually, I'm going to get it done by Friday. He said, you said it was going to be done on Wednesday. So he made me stay up until it was done. Well, the thing is he stayed up with me. And I'll never forget, because I think he had surgery the next day, and we stayed up until it was 3 o'clock in the morning. But they were done. The funny thing is that at midnight, I thought it was popcorn time, because I liked it. And she's like, so I get up from the table, and he goes, what are you doing? I go, I'm making popcorn. He goes, that's why you don't get a lot of things done, because you're procrastinating. And I was like, I had such an attitude. You know, and he has helped me so much. Another time, I committed to doing this paper, and it was a ministry activity, and so by the time I started the paper, it was midnight. So I was just going to do a couple of hours and then go to bed. And he goes, you're going to stay up until it's done. Well, I kicked the cord of my computer and I forgot to save it, and the whole thing erased. So I thought, well, there's no way I'm going to do it now. It was 3 o'clock in the morning at that point. He's like, I wake him up. I go, guess what happened? Thinking that he said, oh, honey, that's okay. And he goes, well, I guess you're just going to have to stay up until it's done. You know, I learned such a good life, because I didn't think I could stay up all night and then get up and go to school and everything. And, you know, the paper, it could have been better. But the thing is that I did it, and I felt so good because I denied myself. I worked with him. I needed him. I pushed myself. And it was like a new front for me. So it's really important to work together. We have fun together. A lot of times we'll play chess before we go to bed and have a glass of wine. And, you know, we just do a lot of things together that it's really, really fun. I also think working with others, too, it's the greatest gift of the kingdom. You know, I think there's too many, especially as women. It's our pride or disorganization, but we don't ask people to help us. And just recently there was a wedding, and it was funny because I kept asking certain sisters, you're sure you have people to help? You're sure you have people to help? They're like, yeah. And it came to it, and sure enough, they were the only ones setting up, and they were frazzled. They were not having as good a time as they could, because we need to work together. And I'm really proud of a couple of different people. Joan, who's in this room, she's been so great. Tanya Piscatella, one of our sisters, Her mother was in Victorville, and Joan drove her all the way up there. Her mother was very ill. We needed to bring her to a nursing home here. Lisa Witt called, got a nursing home set up. We brought her back. Dave and I met her at the nursing home. This woman was a disciple, thankfully, and brought her to church with some other sisters. Well, she died in her sleep. And she's a Christian, she's in heaven. We all worked together and we put an incredible funeral together, a memorial service. You know, we really worked together as a team, and their family was so impacted. Anna, who's here, and Mimi Flores, they got, Anna called me, she goes, is anybody getting Chris and Joe's apartment ready? And I thought, no. She goes, well, I'm going to do it. Well, they went to the store. They went to Pick and Save. They got all these things for the apartment. It looks great. She's so happy. And when Chris and Joe come in, their apartment's all set because somebody took the initiative to do it, to bring another sister to work together. And Sherry Fortner, she's great, sister too. There was another sister who went away to Spain, and she was not doing that well. And so I said to Sherry, hey, why don't you have some sisters over and give her a night to just explain what it was like going to Spain and everything. And Sherry organized a whole evening for this. We've got to work together. It's so much more fun. And the last thing I just want to talk to about women is we need to take the time to work graciously together. I think sometimes when we're busy, then we forget to work graciously. With children, us women with children, we need our babysitters, but we don't need to bark orders at our babysitters. We don't need to just expect that they're going to do things for us. We don't need to call them last minute. They're serving us. Do you do nice things for them? Do you have them over for dinner? Do you write them thank you notes? Do you give them clothes? Do you take them shopping? Do you take the time to talk about their dating lives? Do you draw them into your family? They need that. You will get a lot more from your babysitters. People will want to come over to your house to babysit because we do need, I could never study the Bible with as many people as I do if I didn't have Nuria. She's awesome, but she feels part of our family. And the last thing is, I think we really need to take a lot more time to thank each other. You know, I think we don't write thank you notes enough to each other. We don't say thank you to each other. I was so convicted. When the Fuquays moved here, I got her a little gift, and housewarming gift. You know, she gave me a thank you note. I thought that was neat. She didn't have to. You know, Sherry Van Fleet, I've been spending some time with her. I got a note in the mail yesterday addressed to me. She gave me a thank you note. That meant so much to me. And we really need to take time. If you think about, scheduling and managing your schedule, we need to take time to really make people feel special.
Amen. Finally, working hard, and that's kind of summed up in what we've already talked about. Integrating your life, not categorizing so much, but being spiritual people that look out for the needs of others, but doing it in such a way that we're organized, that we're working together with our husband or our wife and our family, as well as the people in our group. And finally, just pushing ourselves. That's one of the things that I think is the hardest for us to do. We think we're doing great. And a lot of times we resent it when people call us higher. And we have 100 excuses we can give, for why we can't do what we're doing. Kids, family, job, career, you name it. But the bottom line is we need to appreciate people being in our lives to call us to the next level. Because in this room here are the future leaders of the kingdom. A lot of the people like Greg and Shelley Metten, who were the pioneers that went over to India and other places, they're not going to be around forever. And we need to be the ones to raise up because of our gratitude, because of our love for God, because of our wanting to work hard, because of who we want to be for this world, that we would work in that way, that we work hard. Wives, let your husbands disciple you. At the beginning, when we got started, this was obviously an area of strength that I had that Dana didn't have. Dana's very good with details. Sometimes she gets caught up in details. I tend to see the big picture and miss the details. That's why we work so well together. But I had to ask her, okay, honey, what have you got on your schedule today? You could just kind of see the hair on the back of the neck going up. But she humbled herself. And she is who she is today because she took the discipling and the help from me to help her to get to that stage. I don't ask her that anymore. I know that what she's doing. And, I come home and, well, I did this, and I got this done, and I got this, and I organized this, and, well, wow, you had quite a day, didn't you, And she's happier than she's ever been. And as a group, as a couple, you guys can work together and do so much more and be so much more happy and be able to enjoy the life, to have life to the full, like Jesus said. So basically, that's it today. Do you have anything else you want to share?
I just wanted to share one thing about, when it talks about working hard, I think it's great because we have the example of the Proverbs 31 woman. And, I don't think you can get around getting up early and staying up late. It's in the Bible. If it's good enough for the Bible, it's good enough for us. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times we as women, we try to work around that. Mm-hmm. And yet it's our role model there. And I want to hold up Leslie Samario because, she was one of those women before she was a disciple, one of those super women, kind of who did it all. And yet, because she wasn't a Christian, she burned out. And during that time, she ended up becoming a disciple, and now she's kind of regaining her schedule. And yet, as a disciple, she really is like that Proverbs 31 woman. She gets up early, she stays up late, she's able to do it all, not on her own strength, but on God's strength. Yeah. And just about also working intelligently, I think a lot of times, we got to work smart. It was kind of neat. Dave and I, when Dave Devins was baptized, he ended up being baptized in our hot tub. And as I looked around, I thought, gosh, this is so neat because right after that baptism, Yolanda and her husband were baptized, who she's a nurse at Dave's office, and Rafina was there. She was a nurse, and Susan Gordon, who's a friend of ours, was restored. And then soon after that, Anna became a disciple. And we had all these people in our lives that ended up becoming Christians or were restored this year, and not because we killed ourselves, but because I think we worked smart. We worked with people that were in our lives, that were around us already, in our neighborhoods or at our office, and I think that's who we've got to start with. We are busy, and yet we've got people right around us, and those are the people we need to reach out to and have the faith that they're going to become Christians.
Amen. We have a few minutes. It sounds like they're still going next door. Are there any questions, anything that people want to ask? Yeah, Rick.
Yes, I want to know, for our relationship, what kind of time should we be scheduling for just each other, like throughout the week? Like, should it be dinners, or what should we be planning for each other?
Okay. You want to address?
Okay. As much time as you can. I think that's a mistake I made personally when I was newly married. I didn't make the time to make Dave dinner. I made him burnt tuna cheesies. And, like I said, I get the most improved award. So, but I really think that you do need to work smart. I know you work and now you're pregnant, so you're not feeling well. But, things like that, like playing chess before you go to bed. And I don't know what it is for you guys, but, and a lot of times with our family nights, we think, okay, that's all we need to do. So Monday night, the whole night, you can have time. You can have a 2-hour chunk together that's really focused and really good, and then have time with somebody else after. Mm-hmm. And so, I think the thing is every day you need to be, it's an everyday thing. Mm-hmm. Spend some good quality time every day, and you can be working with other people too. So, that's from my perspective.
Yeah, I think again, it's just not categorizing your life into different areas, but incorporating, everything into it. I mean, you can have a couple over with you on a night, or you could sometimes you just got to get away. Shutting down here, we're going to a movie. Mm-hmm. And as you, Rick, you're going to be the one that's going to set that for the family, and really what you say is going to be what the family's going to do. And Heather, knowing who Heather is, she's going to be incredibly submissive, and she's going to go along with everything that you say. Right, Heather? Yeah. There you go. Okay. Yeah.
Something that's been on my heart is, having people over and family time thing, but just getting, we have 2 kids, and trying to break it up. As a family time, as a group, breaking it up. How do you schedule in, individual times, maybe me and Jordan go out, or me and Karen do something? Can you do it all in the same week, or a couple times a month? Or what do you suggest? Because I'm not doing it now, but it's something that I want to do, but I don't know how to.
How do you schedule time with each one of your kids? Because they're your disciples too. I think, again, if we can get away from the concept so much of putting different things in different categories, but as, making the most of every opportunity. Again, being close to God and allowing His Spirit to work. Okay, I'm going to the store. I can take so-and-so, so-and-so with me, and we can have a great time. I'll buy them an ice cream cone, and we'll sit and we'll eat that ice cream cone, and we'll have a good little talk there. That's all you need. And if you do that over and over again, those are the memories that kids are going to have. So it's not so much the quantity of time, it's the quality. Yeah. Oh.
I just wanted to say one other thing to that I do think consistency is important rather than this big thing once a month. And it was kind of interesting. I took care of a teenager of a friend of mine who's a disciple and just picked her up from school. And it was really interesting in that she said, her mom didn't get a chance to say goodbye to her before she left. And it's because I think sometimes we just have to either get up earlier to actually make our children breakfast before they go to school or something like that. There's a lot that you can do. There's a lot more that you can do on a daily. Mm-hmm. And so instead of worrying, oh my gosh, I got to take this big chunk out, it would have meant a lot for her just if her mom had gotten up and made her breakfast, and that would have been that's all she needed. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Repeat the questions. Okay. All right. MJ.
I was wondering if you, one thing it seems like I always bump it out of my schedule is working out.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I need that. Maybe you could talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. Question is, how do you be a disciple and look buff at the same time? Is that basically your question? Well, I feel much better when I'm in shape. And one of the things that I do is I'll take an hour at the end of the day, and I'll do one of two things. I'll either go hit golf balls, because I like to do that, and I want to improve my game. I'll take Craig with me when I can. I'll bring some people with me. Or what I'll do is I'll go to the Y, and I'll get on the Stairmaster. The Stairmaster is one of the best ways for disciples to stay in shape. And I think sometimes we think, okay, we got to get on there and we got to kill ourselves. But really, what I'll do is I'll bring a book with me. I'll have an hour to read on that thing, and what I'll do is I will get my heart rate up to between 28 and 30 beats in a 10-second interval. And you can just look on the Stairmaster. You can see as you go from 40 to 30, and you either check your pulse here or here, and you measure it. And you'll be amazed. These old people, they walk around and they're so slim because they walk every morning. That's basically a better way to lose weight than to get on there for 20 minutes and kill yourself. Because you can go at a great pace, you can check your pulse, and you can read. You're not being so strenuous that you can't read. Plus, it keeps your mind off of looking at other people, and it keeps you very focused on what you do. And I was down at one point to 172 pounds from 185. I'm now about 178 right now. And as the holidays go on, I'm going to have to be even more, concerned about getting there. But I can't eat more because I know that I'm going to go and I'm going to take that time to work. I would take an hour, to be able to get that kind of exercise. I know Dana does the same thing. It makes us both work better, and it makes us work harder. That definitely needs to be put in your schedule, and your spouse, husband or wife, needs to let you do that. Okay, I know sometimes with kids you go, gee, I've been at home all day with the kids, and there you are off working out. No, it's essential that your spouse works out, and you make sure that your wife, if she's at home, gets the same opportunity to get out and do that. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate Lisa. I mean, she made me work out. I was such an attitude. But I feel I have so much more energy, and even sometimes if I just, okay, I've only got, 40 minutes or even a half hour, I will just go and do it because even mentally I need to push myself. So I do recommend for women, especially moms, we need to work out.
Yeah.
The problem is that at night is when I used to do it, take away from the family, but we're taking the time not to take away from the family. I mean, we've gone to a schedule of getting up very early, coming back to shape, and that obviously will take away from the two children that we have. But I'm going to get you all, tell me about your schedule. How do you do it to not interfere with the regular family?
Well, I think for us, Dana will go sometime during the day, if she can, and I'll go right after work. And, I would love to do more, but there's just no way I can. So an hour is just about the most time that I could spend alone. Sometimes we'll take the girls and we'll go, maybe the place will have babysitting or whatever, and you can drop them off there, and they'll get a chance to interact with the other kids and be able to, but it's got to be something you work out together. It's got to be something that you both feel good about, that you can work together to accomplish.
Yeah, because I have to admit, I did have an attitude. Okay, you get off at 5:30 and you're coming home at 7, and I've had the 2 kids, and that means I have to feed them, and I have to give them a bath, and you'll come in, and okay, but you know what? I had to see that he needed that, and so I had to deny myself. And so when he's at 7, then the table's set, and we eat, and maybe we're done in a half hour, 45 minutes, and then we have our appointment at 8 o'clock with a couple, or 8:30 after we put the kids to bed. And so actually with kids, I do recommend, if you have an appointment at night and you have it at your house, you have it at like 8:30 when your kids go to sleep, then you don't have to worry about babysitting or your kids interrupting your conversation. So that really helps. But you do need to give them time to do that.
Yeah. Do as much as you can from home, too. Let your home be the place where you have your appointments and you have people come over. Let people see what you have. We're out of time, and I hope this has been helpful to you. Thank you.